Okay, I haven't used Tinder in like a hot second. Recently I went to one of these things called a bar and like a club. And no, I'm not talking about a blunt object that you can hit someone over the head with. I'm talking about actual bars and clubs. It's like this place you go to and you actually meet people of the opposite sex there. It's crazy. And so once I discovered these, basically I threw Tinder out the door. But due to recent events, I now have a new Tinder story. Well, half of it's on Tinder. The other half is... This whole story takes place over the course of like a year. And literally, it did start about this time a year ago. It was late at night, I'm in my bed, I'm on my phone doing a little swiping, you know how it is. Talking to a few Tinder matches. Honestly, I have no problem talking to a lot of Tinder matches, but like 99% of the time, I have zero intentions of meeting up with these people. I literally just talk to them for my own self-amusement, and that's like it. But I'm chatting with this one chick, you know, she seems pretty cool, pretty like, you know, normal. So I add her on Snapchat because that's like my low-key way of making sure they're not like a 40-year-old dude trying to catfish me. So we're talking a little bit more on there, and then we decide to make plans, and we were gonna meet at the mall that weekend. So we do that, we meet up, she's cool in person, so you know, thank God. It's always nice when you meet someone in person who likes you and isn't weird. Number one tip for getting someone to like you is probably just like, honestly, don't be weird. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So, you know, we meet at the mall, we start doing a little bit of shopping, and at one point we walk past a Victoria's Secret, and I tell her I have never been in a Victoria's Secret in my 21 years of living. And for some reason, she thought this was crazy, so she grabs my arm and drags me inside. Apparently going into a Victoria's Secret is like smoking weed. Like, if you've experienced it, it's not really a big deal anymore. But if you've never experienced it before and you tell someone who has, they like freak out and they have to be there for your first experience. So we go into this Victoria's Secret, and honestly, I felt so out of place as soon as I walked in. It's like a bunch of women and me. And like one other dude who was dragged in by his girlfriend. So the girl I'm with picks out some clothes she wants to try on. She goes into the dressing room. And so I'm sitting in one of those like waiting room chairs while she's doing her thing. And literally the only other dude in the entire store takes a seat right next to me while his girl goes in and tries on whatever she was looking at. And if you know me at all, obviously I'm gonna start a conversation with this guy. Like, I don't know how to not talk to people when I go out in public. Like, I can literally sit in a room with no one else even in it, talk to an inanimate object, and make a career out of it. Like, I'm pretty sure I laugh more by myself in front of a camera than most normal people doing an entire day. I don't know what that says about me, but I would bet money that's true. So anyway, me and this dude start talking, we're getting to know each other. It's basically like general small talk. Yeah, we're talking about, you know, like what's your name, where are you from, what do you do? And so we're talking for a little bit, and at one point in the conversation eventually he asked me what I do for a living, and you know, I tell him I am a full-time YouTuber. And as he was asking me that question, his girl is walking out of the dressing room. And so when I tell him I'm a YouTuber, basically anytime you tell someone that you make YouTube videos for a living, there's always like a little suspicion at first. It's like, okay, anyone can like upload one video to YouTube, get 12 views on it, and say they're a YouTuber. Big deal. But I think usually people can tell that I'm like legit about this when I like start talking about being a YouTuber, because when I talk about it, like I'm very passionate about this. I think you guys can tell when you watch these videos, I love what I do. So I'm talking about being a YouTuber for a little bit, and I can tell, like low-key, I think this guy was getting a little bit jealous. Like, I could tell this guy knew his girl was a little bit out of his league, so I just have this feeling he was probably a little bit clingy, and he wasn't really doing anything crazy with his life yet. And so when I'm standing over here talking about having what in my opinion is the coolest, greatest job ever, and I love my life, and I'm just so passionate about what I do, and I'm so lucky, I just feel like he was basically thinking like, okay, awesome life, we gotta go. And so, you know, he takes his girl, they leave, I never see them again, that's that. By the way, my girl didn't come out of the dressing room like once throughout this entire fiasco. But anyway, the rest of the day carries on, you know, we go to a couple other stores, you know, we're shopping, doing whatever. At the end of the day, we split up, but we stay in touch because, you know, she was pretty cool until eventually she moved to New York, and then, you know, pretty much that was over right there. And that's where the story ended originally. I thought that was the whole story, so I wasn't gonna make a YouTube video about that. Not really anything like Tinder material until the story continues a year later, which was roughly like, I'm assuming like a couple weeks ago. It might have been less than a year, I don't remember, but basically a very long time later the story continues. Because someone I work with hits me up and they ask me if I can pick them up from the same mall, so, because they don't have a car. And I literally have not been to this mall since that last Tinder date, so it's been a while. And so I go to pick them up, and when I get there, I'm not just gonna pick them up and drive them home. I was like, you know what, I might as well walk in, walk around a little bit, see some stores. Could have easily just picked them up and drove home, but I don't do that. So we're walking through the mall, going into a couple stores, and at one point we walk past a MAC Cosmetics store, and I tell my boy, I'm like, you know, I've never been in a MAC Cosmetics store my entire life. And for some reason he thought that was crazy, so he grabs my arm and drags me inside. I'm just kidding, that did not happen. He did not want to go in that store at all. But I wanted to go in, so I basically made him come into the store with me. So we're walking around, I could tell he just did not want want to be there at all. He was basically just following me around and just waiting until I got bored so that we could leave. And then I see this one cute girl out of the corner of my eye across the store. And so, you know, I nonchalantly mosey my way over to that side of the store near her. And then I asked her some question about makeup. I don't even remember what it was. Does it really matter? No, I just wanted to have a conversation with her. So she answers my question, and then after she's done, she actually tells me, you know, I think I recognize you from YouTube. And I was kind of surprised for a second. I was like, no way, are you like a viewer? And she goes, I mean, I subscribed, but I'm pretty sure I met you in a Victoria's Secret like a year ago when you were with a Tinder match. And I was shocked, because I completely forgot what this girl looked like. I didn't recognize her at all, so this like blew my mind. Mainly because this was the most awesome how did you meet story ever. Like, I met her while I was on a date, my first time ever in a Victoria's Secret. Then I never speak to her again, and a year later I meet her again, same mall, my first time ever in a MAC Cosmetics store. Neither store of which a man should really ever be walking in. And I literally told her like, hey, you're gonna give me your number right now and we're gonna hang out sometime. Because look, if this starts going well, we basically have the coolest how did you meet story ever. Turns out she's going to college in some state that's like far as hell away, so that's not gonna happen. But I just love that story anyway, because I just think it's so cool. So the moral of this story is, if you see someone who you want to talk to, please do not be afraid to go up to them and talk to them. Because later on, you're gonna regret the things you don't do way more than the things that you do. Like, I'd rather look back at something and think, oh well, rather than wondering what if. That's just what I think. And if you guys agree with me, feel free to give this video a thumbs up down below. And also, if this is your first time ever watching one of my videos and you don't hate my face, feel free to subscribe because we make videos like this every single Monday. My voice is literally going out just after making this video. My God. But guys, that's really all I've got to say on it, so thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next Monday. Peace.